So good afternoon everyone. We are here to conduct the first lab for digital communication CT 303. So the aim of the first lab basically over here is to study PWM, that is pulse width modulation, and PPM, that is pulse position modulation. Also we are going to see how are we going to generate pulse position modulation using pulse width modulation. So the circuit diagram for the same experiment is given over here. The main component of this is IC 555. So this is used in an astable mode. I hope you all know what is an astable multivibrator. Astable multivibrator is basically not having any stable mode. It changes its mode whenever it is triggered. So this is used as a stable multivibrator. This is used as a monostable multivibrator, which has one single stable mode. Now, considering the study of PWM and PPM. Basically, what is a PWM? Pulse width modulation has got pulses which is having different width. Different width basically refers to the T on time. So this is the T on time, this is the T off time, this is the complete T. So the pulse width is basically dependent on the duty cycle. What is the duty cycle? Duty cycle is basically T on plus T off divided by the total duration T. If my T on is equal to T off, then it gives us 50% duty cycle, which is a square wave. In any other case, where my T on is not equal to my T off, we have got different width of the duty cycle. So here my T on is greater than my T off. Here I am getting a different width of T on. Here I am getting another different width of T on. So basically this is the output of my PWM. This is what is my PWM. PWM basically has pulses which are having different width, different T on time. The T time remains the same, but the T on time changes. So that is my PWM. Whereas what is my PPM? PPM is pulse position modulation. So here the T on time and the T off time of each of the pulse will remain the same, but the pulse can be positioned anywhere. So how does this work? I will be letting you know after we complete the explanation of the circuit. So this is IC 555, which is used in astable mode, which is not having any stable condition. It changes whenever it is triggered. I hope you all know the pin numbers and the function of each pin of IC 555, so I won't be going in detail of that. But yes, we will be giving an input over here, which is the control voltage. The input can be an audio signal which is having different frequency. So maybe we will be having a variable type of input. The charging of the capacitor C3 is dependent on the resistors R2 as well as R1. So basically, if you see over here, at this point, so this is the capacitor voltage VC taken across the capacitor C3. Okay. So basically, when we consider the charging and the discharging of the capacitor, whenever the IC is reset, that is the IC 555 is reset, at that time the output voltage is 0. So at this point of time, the transistor is in, since the voltage is low, the transistor is in on condition, and because it is in on condition, the capacitor starts charging. As the capacitor voltage reaches 1/3 of VCC, as it increases towards 1/3 of VCC, the output voltage over here is high. This continues till the voltage of the capacitor reaches 2/3 of VCC. Now the VCC which we have considered is 12 volt. So as the capacitor voltage crosses 1/3 of VCC, we get a high output. At the high output, if you know the internal of IC 555, the transistor turns on. As the transistor turns on, slowly the capacitor will start discharging. As the 2/3 of the voltage is crossed, we get a low output voltage at the output of the stable multivibrator. So basically here the charging and discharging of the capacitor, according to that, our width of the output is dependent on the charging and discharging of the capacitor, and hence we get different widths at the output. So this is our PWM signal. This PWM signal is fed to a monostable multivibrator. So whenever we get a high to low transition, wherever we get a high to low transition, here we get a pulse width at the output. The PWM signal is given over here. You all must be knowing the working of a monostable multivibrator. The monostable multivibrator has got a single stable mode. So if its stable mode is 1, it will be remaining in the 1 condition till the time it is triggered. If its stable condition is level 0, then it remains in that condition for a higher duration of time till it gets triggered. So here we consider the high to low edge. Wherever we are getting a high to low edge, we get this as the on condition, and then it again goes into its low condition. Again, this high to low edge, we again get another pulse. This high to low edge, we get another pulse. So since the duration of the pulses are different, so the high to low transition will be at different time periods. Because it will be at different time periods, these pulses will be having different time periods of generation. So it might be over here, one might be over here, one might be over, far off. So that gives the different positions of the pulse. So this coordinates to what is pulse position modulation. So for generation of PWM, we require a stable multivibrator. If we do not require PPM, we will be stopping over here. If we require the generation of PPM, then we will be generating PPM by using PWM. So the output of the stable multivibrator is then given to a monostable multivibrator, and the output of monostable multivibrator gives us PPM signal. So this is the explanation of how are we generating PWM and how are we going to generate PPM out of it. I will be explaining the circuit diagram and the waveforms. I will be giving you the output of it in the later stage. I will be first showing you the PWM wave, and then I will be showing how the PPM wave is generated using PWM. So here I have made a circuit using breadboard where I have used IC 555. The pins of the IC 555 are ground, trigger, output, reset, and control voltage, threshold, discharge, and VCC, as I have already told you in the explanation. So according to the circuit diagram, I have made the connections, and then I have given 10 kilohertz signal sine wave with almost 2 volt peak to peak as the input from the function generator, and I am seeing the output on the digital oscilloscope. So here is the PWM signal. As you can see, the PWM signal has got different T-on widths. So this is our PWM signal. If you need to measure the every cycle gets repeated after a particular time. For example, if I talk about these 3 pulses, after that it is getting repeated, maybe after some duration. So basically, if you want to measure the time period of a particular cycle, you can measure the T-on time with the cursors, which was already explained to you in the previous labs.
Hello viewers, today we are going to perform the experiment of pulse position modulation and demodulation technique, which is generally used in digital communication system. In this technique, the position of predefined carrier pulse are modulated or varied in accordance with the amplitude of modulating or message signal. We are going to perform this experiment with the help of a trainer kit. This trainer kit has 4 inbuilt sections. The first one is Audio Frequency Signal Generator or AF Signal Generator section, which generates an AF signal to be used as modulating signal or message signal. The next section is Clock Pulse Generator section, which generates a carrier clock pulse synchronized with AF signal to be used as carrier wave for pulse position modulation. The third section is the Pulse Position Modulator section. This section uses the carrier clock pulse from previous section as carrier wave, AF signal as modulating or message signal, and produce pulse position modulated wave at its output. The last section is demodulator section. With the help of this section, we can demodulate the pulse position modulated wave and recover the original modulating or message signal. We shall perform the experiment with the help of a PC-based dual channel oscilloscope where yellow one is X channel and the green one is Y channel. The oscilloscope ground terminal is connected to any ground terminal of trainer kit marked with green color as all the ground terminal are internally connected. Let's connect the AF signal generator output to X channel of oscilloscope and synchronous clock pulse generator output to Y channel of oscilloscope by patch cords. Now connect the synchronization link of synchronous clock pulse generator with AF signal generator section by patch cord as shown in the diagram. Turn on the trainer kit and turn on the oscilloscope. Here we can observe a sine signal in X channel and square wave signal in Y channel. We can adjust the frequency and amplitude of sine signal with the help of potentiometer provided in AF signal generator section, and we can vary the frequency of square wave signal with the help of potentiometer provided in clock pulse generator section. Now let's connect the X channel of oscilloscope to output of AF signal generator section, Y channel to output of pulse position modulator section. Connect the carrier wave input of pulse position modulator to the output of clock pulse generator section and AF signal input of pulse position modulator to the output of AF signal generator by patch cords. Turn on the oscilloscope. Here we can observe the pulse position modulated wave in oscilloscope Y channel and modulating AF signal in oscilloscope X channel. After slight adjustment, we can observe that the ppm signal is perfectly displayed on oscilloscope screen with the modulating AF signal. Now connect the oscilloscope Y channel to the output of ppm demodulator section by patch cord and ppm input of ppm demodulator to output of ppm modulator section. Connect the synchronized clock pulse input of ppm demodulator to clock pulse generator output. Here we can observe the demodulated signal from ppm demodulator on oscilloscope Y channel and modulating AF signal on oscilloscope X channel. When we vary the amplitude and frequency of modulating AF signal, the amplitude and frequency of demodulated signal is also responding properly. Hence, we can conclude that the ppm signal is properly demodulated. The complete operation manual of this experiment can be downloaded from the link given in the description box. If you really like this video, please hit the like button, share with your friends and subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get notification first. For any product related information, please visit our website www.kalpanascientific.com. That's all for now. Hope to meet you soon with another informative video like this. Till then, bye bye.